Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Savanamangalam Srimadatatam Bhuvi Grinanti Bhurida Janaha. The nectar of thy words revives the scourged spirit of human beings. They purify the sinner and are the life of the holy. To hear them itself is auspicious and peace generating. They are the real givers who spread thy name far and wide. Welcome to the Friday scripture class of the Vedanta Society of Toronto. And today's scripture is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. In the Gospel, we are we are on the chapter called Rules for Householders and Monks. It was recorded on March 9, 1884. And we're at the end of that chapter where Sri Ramakrishna describes the qualities of a realized soul and the incarnation of God. So, page 405, middle of the page. It is no longer possible for the man who has seen God to beget children and perpetuate the creation. When a grain of paddy is sown, it grows into a plant. But a grain of boiled paddy does not germinate. So then now the question comes, these rishis were our family members, most of the rishis. So how did they have children? They have children also where there are many students. How they have children? So I think they all had children before they became the rishi. And after that, they realized, become the Mantradasta, and they had their son became their foremost disciple. And the knowledge of the Vedas that were revealed to them were transmitted to their disciples. Among them, sometimes were their own children. This is how Sri Ramakrishna says even the rule of the creation to procreate, to spread their own number of their own species, increase the number of their own species, that doesn't happen. It's not possible for realized soul. And gives the example of a boiled paddy. A boiled paddy looks like exactly like a paddy, but if you sow it on the ground, it cannot germinate because inside the paddy is already boiled. So, like that is the boiled in Bengali called Siddha, and perfected person is also called Siddha. There's the pun of that Siddha. The perfected person, the God realized person who has become Siddha, cannot indulge in procreation or in having the children. Is beyond that. It is not possible for that person to do that. Like the Siddha paddy, the boiled paddy, cannot germinate into a new plant and beget other seeds. So it is like that. He who has seen God retains his eye only in name. No evil can be done by that eye. It is a mere appearance, like the mark left on the coconut tree by its branch. The branch has fallen off, only the mark remains. In coconut, these leaves are so big that they are like branch. Uh, in Bengali, it is not called branch, it's called belo, but translated as branch. They're like the leaf, actually, but very big leaf, like the branch of the coconut tree. Coconut tree doesn't have a real branch, but these are like the branches. The leaves are so big, like the branch. So that there was branch there, or there was the leaf there. How do we know? There was the leaf's mark remains when the leaf falls. So after the leaf is fall, you know that leaf was there. So little of that leaf's position, that mark remains on the trunk um, of the coconut tree. So like that, A semblance of ego remains on a realized soul. The ego that binds a man, which makes us enjoy the world or have the desires to work or have certain wishes to perform in the world, all those are gone. But little I remains, little like the mark that there was a real I was there, real ego was there, but that ego has now fallen, is now gone. So that sign will be there, little trace of ego will be there, which will say, I want to do good to the world, or I want to repeat the God's name, I want to help others. Only that type of I is there, but the I that binds one to the world with desires and actions, that I has already left, gone, removed. But after that I is removed, little mark of that ego is there. So, like the leaves of coconut tree, when they fall on the trunk, there is a mark that is left there. So, that example Sri Ramakrishna gives. Also, this I that is in the realized soul that remains is so mild, so tender, it can do no harm to that person, to that realized person, or to others. So, but there might be a semblance of I there. They say that when you realize God, your I is like there is a rope which binds. But if rope is burnt, now there will be the shape of rope will be there of ash, the rope made of ash, but looks like rope, but it has no power to bind. Its binding power has gone, removed. It cannot bind anymore because now it is the rope of ash. How can the ash rope bind? You literally touch and it will be blown away. So that is what is the eye of a realized soul. That's what Sri Ramakrishna so beautifully said about the paddy. I said to Keshav Sen, give up the ego that makes you feel I am the doer, I am teaching people. Keshav said to me, sir, then I cannot keep the organization. So if you do not have, sometimes they say, if you do not have ego that I am doing this, then I will not be able to do. There should be some passion, some desire, otherwise, how will you act? So Sri Ramakrishna says, for that, Keshav Sen also said, if I give the ego that I teach the people uh, that I am the doer, then how the organization will be kept? I have to feel that I have to make this organization the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj or his organization, Navavidhan, new dispensation. So I own this, I have to develop this, I have to make the followers of it. So if that is not there, then how the organization will remain? Keshav says, Keshav debates with, argues with Sri Ramakrishna. If I give up the idea that I am the doer, I have to, that I am teaching people, if that is given, how will organization remain? Sri Ramakrishna says to that Keshav's question that thereupon I said to him, give up the wicked ego. One doesn't have to renounce the ego that makes one feel I am the servant of God, I am his devotee. One doesn't develop the divine ego as long as one retains the wicked ego. So wicked ego is that says, I am intelligent, I am doer, I am this position and all that. I am the head of the family, I am the father, I am the mother. He has to listen like that. That is the wicked ego, says Sri Ramakrishna. At other place it says unripe ego, the raw ego. Here it says the wicked ego. Wicked ego is that very pride or always very sensitive to oneself, of one's all outer achievements, outer attributes, how much his position, his wealth, his power, always thinking of that. But ultimately, give up that. You are nothing. All God has given you that. That's why it's happening. Just retain the divine ego. What is divine ego? I am the servant of God. I am servant of all, you all. I am here like the head of the family. Instead of saying I am the head of the family and I people should listen to what I say. My wife should listen, my son should listen, my daughter should listen. Instead of saying that, I am the servant of all. So it is my duty to see that all are having good time. They're fed well. They get what they need in life. They get the good advice. So you feel happy to uh, serve your family members. Uh, that type of ego. This is my service to God in the form of my wife, my husband, my son, my daughter, my father. All are God in so many forms. And I feel so delighted to be able to serve. It has been given to me to serve them. So this is a kind of ego, but that ego is so wonderful ego, the divine ego, that doesn't do harm to the person. So Sri Ramakrishna says, to Keshav said, do that way. You are serving God. In that way you think and you serve. You will be doing the work better way than thinking that I am the leader of this group and I have to maintain and administer this. Instead of saying that I am the servant of God, God is running the organization, I have to do only as God says. I have to serve all the people who have come to this organization and make them feel that they are getting closer to God. If I think that way, that is the real, that you won't bind, you won't be bound, and then you will do better work. Work will be better if it done without ego or with the trace, only trace of the ego, without weakened ego, says Sri Ramakrishna, but with divine ego. Ego that I am serving God, God has become all this. And he says, one doesn't develop the divine ego as long as one retains the weakened ego. So this has to be given up. All this, I am this learned, I am this powerful, I am this rich. So like that, these are all comes under the weakened ego. Unless the wicked ego goes, then the divine ego that I am the servant of God and it's my duty to serve God present in front of me in so many forms in this relationship with the employee and employer or with the head of the family and the members of the family. All this will not go if I do not give up such ego, then that will come, that divine ego will come when I will see God in everyone, and it will be my real worship to serve everyone, and there will be joy in my every service, every act that I do to my family members or to my office workers or to my company. All that divine ego, when it comes, wicked ego, when it goes only, then the divine ego can come. If a man is in charge of the storeroom, the master of the house doesn't feel responsible for it. You see, uh, so he says that when wicked ego is already there, so divine ego cannot work in that case. And he gives the example of a house where is a storeroom, and one person, the house master himself, has put the store one in charge and asked him to take care of whatever people want, give that. And when somebody wants something from the master, he says, no, then the store in charge is there, ask from him. He says, he's not giving, please go. He says, oh, he's given responsibility, I cannot say anything. So until that person is there, so even the master of the house, he would not like to interfere into that. So he cannot go and say something that is already denied by the storekeeper. So, like that, wicked ego is in charge. Then, how the divine ego that is already there, that the divine ego who says, I am the servant of God, that will cannot come. I am this learned man, I am this powerful man, all that will come, and your true divine ego will be gone. So, and another place, Sri Ramakrishna says that the wicked ego can be transformed into divine ego. That wicked ego, all this quality, that makes you proud of your false pride of your learning and wealth and all your skills, all that can go, and you can feel that all those are the things given by God and those belong to God. And you are just the servant of God. If you think that way, then this unripe ego becomes ripe. So that is what the transformation of the ego or replacement of weakened ego by the divine ego. It's the same thing. To the devotees, you see, my nature is changing on account of this injury to my arm. It is being revealed to me that there is a greater manifestation of God in man than in other created beings. God is telling me, as it were, I dwell in men, be merry with men. Among men, God manifests himself in a still greater degree in pure souled devotees. That is why I feel great longing for Narendra, Rakhal, and other such youngsters. Here, the manifestation of divinity in human beings, the greatness of human embodiment, you see. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. That man is, we get the human birth out of 8,400,000 lives, they say. We overcome that, we cross those, and then get the human life, where we have the rationality, where there is intelligence is there, and we can feel that God realization is possible, our spiritual progress is possible. Like that idea comes in human life alone. In other lives, it is not given. So human life is so great, says Sri Ramakrishna. And God manifests among the created being, most in the human beings. So, though Sri Ramakrishna says, Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Aham Atma Gudakesa Sarva Bhuta Saya Sthita. I lie, I remain as the soul in in every beings that is created. But the one same soul is present in all beings. But there is greater manifestation of that soul in human beings. Human beings, that soul is, that divine soul is most manifested. That's why he says, it is revealed to me that human beings are the greatest manifestation of divinity is in and through human beings. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying. As if God is telling to me, as it were, I dwell in men, be merry with men. So enjoy the company of men as if you are enjoying the company of God. Why do you say men? Swami Vivekananda later on says, I have seen God, only God, whom the ignorant call man. So ignorant people call man, but those who have real eye of wisdom, they have become so purified, they see God everywhere in all human beings. All human beings are the manifestation of the divine. Among men, God manifests himself in a still greater degree in pure souled devotees. So, all human beings are the manifestation of God, but there is a degree of manifestation, difference in degree of manifestation. Among the devotees, pure soul devotees, there is greater manifestation among the human beings also. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. And he gives the example that is why I feel great longing for Narendra, Rakhal, and other such devotees. So, uh, so how pure were they, these Rakhal and Narendra? Sri Ramakrishna always saw God in them. Once someone said to Sri Ramakrishna that, oh, you love Naren because he is a rich man's son and all that. So Sri Ramakrishna said, no, that thought doesn't come to me at all. Who I have never asked whose son he is, whose father, what he does. I don't want to know about that. I just love Narendra because he is so pure. He's so devoted to God. That's why I love Narendra. Actually, when that man said Sri Ramakrishna, that you have that idea about Naren being rich and learned and intelligent, that's why you love him. Sri Ramakrishna went to Divine Mother Temple and they said, Mother, the Hadra said me like that. Do I love Naren because of that? So Divine Mother replied to him, no, you don't love Naren because he is a rich man's son or anything. You love Naren because you see Narayana in him. The moment you will not see Narayana in him, you cannot look upon at his face. So it is all divine manifestation that because of that you like and love Narendra, Rakhal and all that. So that's why he says, so there he finds the maximum manifestation of the divinity. When Advaitananda Swami, so Gopal, Buddha Gopal, he was not a monk that time. He wanted to give some ochre robes to uh, monks who are in the Ganga Sagar. And he said to Sri Ramakrishna, I want to go to Ganga Sagar and want to give ochre robes to the sadhus there. So Sri Ramakrishna said, why you have to go to Ganga Sagar to give ochre robes to monks? Here are so many pure souled young people. Give them. They are not less than monks, though they are not sannyasis. And then this Buddha Gopala made all cloths distributed to Naren, Rakhal, Babu Ram, and all those in Kasipur by Sri Ramakrishna's hands. So Sri Ramakrishna saw all them as the very pure monks who are close to God because they are so pure. So God most manifested in them. They were not less than monks. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says they are Ishvara Kotis. They are not like ordinary human beings. They are of the category of God, God category human beings. So that is the state of level of these young disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. And he clearly sees that I see that's why I feel great longing for Narendra, Rakhal, and other youngsters. One often sees small holes along the edge of a lake. Fish and crab accumulate there. Just so, there is a greater accumulation of divinity in man. It is said that man is greater than the salagram. Man is Narayana himself. If God can manifest himself through an image, then why not through man also? When Sri Ramakrishna saw Narendranath first time, uh, then he took him to the veranda and said, kneel down, and he make him sit on a stool, and he kneeled down to him. He was standing, not sitting. Narendra was standing, and Sri Ramakrishna kneeled down to him and said, you are Narayana in the form of Nara. You are God in the form of human being, and you have come to remove the suffering of others. So that was so shocking for Narendra, who never thought about himself that way. I thought, oh, this person really, people call him crazy. He's really crazy. Where I am the son of Vishwanath Datta, live in Calcutta, where he's saying this is Nara and all that. He didn't accept that, but Sri Ramakrishna could see through and through Narendranath who really he is. So that is what he says. And he says how this God divinity is stored in pure soul persons. And gives the example of how this fish and crabs they accumulate, they gather in small holes near the edge of a lake. So where there is water and the small hole, they find the shelter there. All crabs and small fish all go, and you can find them there. Like that, the divinity is more found in human beings, and among the human beings, among to in pure soul human beings. So that is what is divinity could be found, says Sri Ramakrishna. And man is greater than Salagram. Salagram is is the stone symbol of Narayana. As we have stone symbol of Shiva Linga for Shiva, there is stone symbol, special kind of stone, smooth, small pebble. That is the sign of, that is the symbol of Narayana or Vishnu. That is Salagram. So, and he says, human being is greater than Salagram. Salagram is worshipped in temples as the symbol of Vishnu, and then all the things human being is not so much honored. But he says Salagram is just the symbol of Vishnu, Narayana. But human being is the Vishnu manifested. God can manifest himself through an image. Why not through man? So man is Narayana himself. Narayana himself has become this man. Most divine qualities can manifest through a pure souled person. So why not him to be called divine? So that's why he says, if God can be worshipped through image, if God can manifest himself through an image, then why not through man also? So that's what he said. Sri Ramakrishna saying is that this new Vedanta, that how this human being is seen as so great manifestation of the divine, seeing human beings and God, every human being that we see as the manifestation of God. So how beautiful it would be to see when you see the image of Shiva, Shiva Linga, when you go to Varanasi, you find the temple, you get so much feeling that you have come to the temple of Vishwanath, of Lord Shiva, and you worship, offer him the bilwa leaves and the water, and feel the presence of Shiva himself there. So because you have gone and said that Shiva Linga, or you go to the temple and then if I feel the presence of God. But what about God revealing himself through the human beings? So naturally, people who are impure minded, you cannot feel God revealing themselves through them. But God reveals himself through the pure minded persons. And that is the best symbol of God, actually. Best manifestation of God is there because all holiness, purity, you'll find emanating in them, through them. When you find a person like Rakhal or Naren or Sri Ramakrishna, uh, what can be better manifestation of God than these divine personalities? So image is there, no doubt. If image is in absence of such manifestation of divinity through man, then the image works. When you have such manifestation of divinity, then you find God really revealed. You find such thing in many saintly persons, that many feel that divinity is manifested through this guru, through this saint, through this Baba. Many persons say so, and how that by their example and teaching and their advice, how they do good to the world. These Babas and all that say do that. So one Baba was there. He said to a doctor, an American doctor, try to eliminate smallpox by giving vaccine to all the people. And he worked on that, polio on that, Dr. Brilliant. So she was said that way. So, and he did that. So, isn't it divine manifestation? Someone saying, and that is being carried out by the great doctor. And don't you see divine? People don't listen when father says to son, son doesn't listen. But here is a doctor, Baba that lives in a very poor state, poor living, no riches, nothing, but the spiritual power is so much that he commands something to a great doctor of the US, uh, and that person works upon that and gives the polio and removes the polio from the world just by the command of that Baba. It's a Deoriya Baba or whoever is there. So isn't God manifesting through that person? Isn't that person divine and powerful that whose advice can do so much good to the so many people, to the whole world? So there's definitely greater manifestation of divinity in such persons, such pure souled saints and saintly persons. God is born as man for the purpose of sporting as man. Rama, Krishna, and Chaitanya are examples. By meditating on the incarnation of God, one meditates on God Himself. Like you see, this Rama, all these avatars. Avatars, somebody may say, avatars are the gods' manifestation. Some people try to like to think that oh, they were like the human beings, but by their great works they become called as the avatars. Rama was a great warrior, Krishna was a great teacher, and by their great work they rose themselves. They raised themselves to the level of divine incarnation. But it's not that way. It's the other way. They are the divine incarnation who lived like human beings. And that's what Sri Ramakrishna says. God loves to sport as a human being. God Himself comes in the human form as Rama and Krishna, Chaitanya and Ramakrishna. And all that it happens. And that's why, and he says, incarnation of God and gods are not too different. Not that incarnation of God is the just manifestation of the divinity through any human being. Incarnation of God or Himself. And that's why he says, by meditating on an incarnation of God, one meditates on God Himself. There's no difference between meditation and God. If you want to meditate on God, you can meditate on Rama or Krishna or Chaitanya or Ramakrishna or wherever other divine incarnations are there. That's what you can do. One second, excuse me. Bhagavan Das, a Brahmo devotee, arrived. Master to Bhagavan Das. The eternal religion, the religion of the rishis, has been in existence from time out of mind and will exist eternally. Great saying of Sri Ramakrishna. This Sanatana Dharma, this eternal religion. Sanatana Dharma, one is we equate with Hindu Dharma. Other is that which has the eternal truths in that Dharma. That will remain. Other religions will come and go, says Sri Ramakrishna. The Dharma, the Vedika Dharma or Vedanta, which has the truths of the Vedas, eternal truths. So that Dharma will ever remain. This truth will never be lost. So others, they will try to bring something, make it easy and all that. It will be there and then it will be gone. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says to Brahmo leader. Did That's how this Sanatana Dharma or Hindu Dharma is. It's not only about the Hindu Dharma; it's about any religion that has the truth embedded in it. So that will always remain. The modified dharma, the made dharma, like Dine Ilahi. Akbar wanted to make a dharma, a religion, Dine Ilahi. So that you see only the history books. You read, oh, Akbar wanted to make some types of religion based on the teachings of Hindus and Muslims, but that didn't last. But the religions of the world, they last founded by the great prophets. And those who have real truth that is still continuing, that will remain. If truth is lost from the teaching of the great prophets, then that dharma will also not exist. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying is. But eternal religion is that which has the truths of the reality, truth of God that is there, like the truth of Vedanta or truth of any religion, that wherever there is the truth remaining of about the God. So Bhagwan Das was a Brahmo devotee, and Brahmos thought themselves to be separate from the Hindus, and they started calling them Brahmos. They tried to revive the Hinduism by not worshipping the image, by not performing the rituals as the Hindus do. But Sri Ramakrishna says, that will be not real. It will not last if because a small section of the society they only try to take it. But there is so much truth in the uh, Sanatana Dharma that people have not understood about the image worship. How Swami Vivekananda promoted the image worship and said image is the symbol of God. So that's how it works. And that's Sri Ramakrishna saying the Sanatana Dharma alone will exist eternally. There exist in the Sanatana Dharma all forms of worship, worship of God with form, and worship of the impersonal deity as well. It contains all paths, the path of knowledge, the path of devotion, and so on. Other forms of religion, the modern cults, will remain for a few days and then disappear. So that is what about the Vedanta or Sanatana Dharma is, because it contains all forms of worship. That's why it cannot be lost as long as human being has as a desire for God in the soul. So long they will have to come to one or other form the worship, and all are content you'll find in the Sanatana Dharma. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna said, other religions come and go, but Sanatana Dharma will live, will last, will exist forever because it contains the truth of spirituality, truth of religion. And it is like the variety, it is the variety of all, it's all inclusive religion. It contains the worship of God with form, without form, worship of God in a stone, worship of God as meditation on the reality, and that's why there's the path of knowledge, path of devotion, path of karma, path of dhyana, all are there in the Sanatana Dharma. So it will exist forever. It's the word of Sri Ramakrishna. So that's of Avatara, God Himself coming and saying, there is there will be no time when the Sanatana Dharma can be wiped away from the face of the earth. It will exist forever. But other small cults, they will come and go. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said. We conclude today this of March 9, 1884. From next gospel class, it is March 23, 1884. Thank you very much for attending today's class online. And I got this bad cold. Sorry for that. And we'll meet on the next Friday with the Gita, and after that again, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and this conversation on rules of for householders and monks on that chapter, conversation that was recorded on March 23, 1884. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmu. Good night to everyone. Jai Ma.